I'm making more money doing Airbnb, working just 10 hours a month, than I'm making in my full-time job as a manager, working 60 hours a week.
That's insane.
So it was a no-brainer.
Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Myka and Steve.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to
another episode of Live,
Let,
Thrive.
He does something different every time, so it's just, whatever. So, hey, you're like, guests are like, who are you talking to? Well, we have a guest. We have a guest for the show. We always awkwardly start this show anyways. This is episode 31. How you doing, Myka?
31? Yeah, we're 31. Okay.
31, yes, sir.
All right. I'm good. How about yourself?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Let's just cut to the chase. We have a special guest, and her name is Sue Hoyuela. Hoyuela, right?
Let's welcome
nice.
Sue.
Welcome, Sue.
Thank you.
A girl named Sue. Cool.
Thanks for having me.
Is that a Spanish last name?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
I came from a German background. I had a very easy last name, and then I married my husband from. He's actually from East LA. The roots go back to Spain. Orale. So now I get to learn how to say words like orale. Yeah, but I'm just a regular girl from Newport Beach. Yeah, how we wound up together, that's a whole nother story.
So you're his güera.
Exactly. Did I lose you?
I used to travel out to LA. A lot of friends out there, and we would go to East LA. I have some fun East LA stories. So, but
cool.
I blended in all right. I'm Mexican descent, so yeah. So it was fun. I love LA.
All
Yeah.
right.
So Sue,
that's a song.
Huh?
That should be a song or something.
I love LA. I was singing that song the other day. It is a song,
yeah.
I think.
To live and die in LA.
Oh, there's plenty of songs about LA.
Yeah.
So, Sue, tell us our listeners a bit about yourself.
Wow, where do I begin? I guess I would describe myself as a serial entrepreneur who's been trying to find a way to financial freedom for most of my life. And back in 2011, I discovered Airbnb, and it was one of those, it changed my life moments. It basically allowed me to quit my full-time job after 9 months, and then I started growing my business, brought my husband home after another year, and now we're just living this amazing lifestyle, with the time freedom and money freedom that we've always dreamed of, thanks to Airbnb. And we started here in LA, and I was just telling Steven before the show, it's amazing when you're working in a city and you're just going to work and paying the bills. You don't see it, in like, you'd wonder, why do people come to LA? And you just don't see it when you're working and paying bills and stuff. But since we've been hosting guests through Airbnb, we've seen it through their eyes. And we've come to just totally fall in love with our city. It's amazing. So when we have time to go on vacations, we just do staycations and explore. It's so huge. We're like, wow, it's, 2 hours to get from one side of the county to the other. There's a lot to do here.
Oh, yeah, tons.
How many, so you said you've been doing it since 2011. So in that time frame, so how many Airbnbs do you run right now?
I've got about 10 properties right now and just added another one. So
Nice. And you said you retired in how many months?
I was able to quit my full-time job as a manager after 6 months, actually.
Wow.
But we weren't sure that the money was going to be steady and reliable, so we held off for 3 months, and we hid my paychecks, and pretended we didn't have that income.
That's a good idea.
Then,
Great tip right there.
I'm not big on risk, but it was amazing. And so after the 9th month, I just said, money's even better. I'm making more money doing Airbnb, working just 10 hours a month, than I'm making in my full-time job as a manager, working 60 hours a week.
That's insane.
So it was a no-brainer. I
That's
just said,
awesome.
well, if I quit and I'm only working 10 hours a month, what can I do with the rest of my time? So that's where I started looking into other ways to use Airbnb and really grow the business and work it into like different business models that I discovered along the way.
Okay. So do you only invest in real estate in LA, or do you go branch out, or just stick to LA?
Well, that's an interesting question because I don't actually invest in real estate. I use leverage to control properties so that I'm making money on assets that I don't even own. And so that's a whole nother conversation. But I've tried to keep my own personal properties within like an hour drive radius.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a couple out as far as Coachella, Anaheim, but mostly they're all along like the 605 corridor because we're on the east side of LA County. But with different business models, I'm able to leverage and manage properties much farther away. So we're talking to some folks that have 47 rental properties in Pennsylvania right now and trying to get that set up.
Okay, so, wow, that's actually interesting. So it sounds like you sublease, correct?
No, I don't.
So how do you leverage?
That's too risky for me. Yeah, in the beginning we did, I rented a house, 5-bedroom, 3-bath, and we sublet it, and it was great. I mean, it was generating like a net of $2,000 a month.
Wow.
But I realized that wasn't scalable. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of risk, so I thought, well, if I have like 4 or 5 of these properties, and I have to pay the the rent every month, and all of a sudden, things can change, rules can change. I don't want to be stuck having to pay all these different leases and not being able to have income coming in. So that wasn't good for my risk tolerance at that point. So I found different ways to leverage properties with no risk. So, yeah. I'm sorry, what was the question?
Because I was wondering how you leverage, because you said you don't really invest too far outside of, I think, however many hours you said. So what do you use for, like, because your 10 properties, those are yours, right? You own them?
No. I control them. So I keep the revenue that comes in from them, but I own nothing.
That's a beautiful thing.
Wow.
I heard on another podcast. I listen to tons of podcasts, and one guy said, "Rich people don't own property, or they don't own property, something like that. Oh, they don't own properties, They don't own assets. They control assets." And I was like, that's pretty cool, So they don't get hit.
Own nothing, control everything.
Wow.
Exactly. So you live in Rosemead, is that correct?
I'm in Pico Rivera, so yeah, right next door practically to Rosemead, in that same general area.
Okay. Do you rent out of your own house at all?
Yeah, we do. That's how it all started, and we love it. It's just been amazing for us. The people we meet, we say they leave footprints on our hearts. I mean, our lives have been so changed in so many amazing ways from the people we've met as our guests, and it's been an incredible journey. I don't know if you've had that same experience, Myka. I understand you rent rooms too.
Yeah, I rent out of my house hack my house. Yeah, that's the one good thing about it. You do get to meet a lot of people, very interesting people. But yeah, I've been doing that for a few months now, and I actually love it. Right now, I'm actually looking for some corporate nurses to put in there for three months or so. So what do you do? Do you just only Airbnb them, or you look for sometimes few month tenants, or how do you go about it?
We only do Airbnb. In the beginning, I tried doing a lot of different other booking engines, but they were all kind of disastrous. So I just came back to, Airbnb is the one that works and drives traffic and pays the bills, and they're amazing in so many ways. Like, Airbnb, how do I love you? Let me count the waves. It's just so cool. But yeah, we've kept it to we want guests who stay for shorter periods of time is where we found our comfort zone. So we've maxed out at like the longest someone can stay is 21 nights. That's about when we start to say, I think we're ready to meet some new people.
Like house guests, right? After 3 days, they're like fish or something. What's the saying? I'm bad with remembering stuff. But they both start to smell after 3 days. I don't know, something like that. So you've tried VRBO then, right?
Right. That was one of the ones I tried early on.
And what did you not like about that?
Oh my goodness. Well, they charged me up front for the whole year, whether they gave me a guest or not.
Right.
I think they've changed that a little bit now.
Yeah.
But then I was gonna accept a booking, and they kind of said, "Okay, great, you have a booking, but now you've got to chase the money." And I really don't like having a merchant account or processing credit cards or chasing that. It just feels really, I don't know. I don't like to deal with that. Airbnb handles all that for me. That's why I love them so much.
Right.
And then I started managing properties for other owners of properties. And when I would do that on Airbnb, it was like create a listing, off to the races, you're making money 24 hours later. Vrbo said, oh no, if you don't own the property, we want to see like the property management agreement, we want it notarized, we wanted, all this information and documentation, and we're going to approve you or not. And it was such a headache paperwork-wise that I just gave up with them. It wasn't very user-friendly.
And so what year was that where you were using them?
Yeah, it's been a while. It was probably around 2012 to 2013.
Okay. Because Myka told me it would be a good idea to get into VRBO. I started with Airbnb. I started in October. He's been doing it for a while. And so right off the bat, Airbnb is smooth, seamless. I'm on there. I'm putting my stuff on there, pictures, and I'm having fun with it. It's easy. And then so he tells me, dude, you got to put it on VRBO too. I started getting hits right away on Airbnb. I'm like, I don't think I need to. It's looking pretty good so far. Every day's getting booked. And so he's like, yeah, but you got to put it on there. And so anyway, he told me because they charge more. See how they're doing it now. When I jumped in like October, it's pretty much trying to mimic Airbnb now. And so it was like Airbnb with like a crappy website. And so for example, I was trying to upload all these pictures and it wasn't letting me, and it kept getting errors. And finally, I read what the errors said, at first, and it said something about I had to put my pictures at a certain pixel level or something like that. I had to resize. I had to go in there and resize and run it through the Windows picture thing, and every single picture. It was frustrating. I told him, dude, I'm not going to do this stupid VRBO. Anyways, and I've never got a booking on there until like today. I got my first booking on there since October.
Wow.
So I guess Mike is the expert at it because he uses VRBO a lot. And his philosophy is just charge a buttload more for VRBO, and then it'll all even out.
Yeah. I mean, I try to put my place everywhere. Like, I found a new place to put my rooms today called, Furnished Finder. Good old guest Al Williamson of ours actually told me about it. He told me to get a lot of traveling nurses. So, yeah, I put in my place as many places as possible. More eyes on it. But yeah, VRBO, I know a lot of people that ran a lot of people off that whole charge them up front. So I'm happy they kind of changed it to they just take a higher fee out and they charge through that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you you're in LA, a beautiful or close to LA. Do you ever thought of hosting the experiences?
I have, actually. Back before they brought that feature on board, I was actually offering to my guests what I called my magic carpet rides, where I would do a custom tour of LA, and we'd, brainstorm what they wanted to do, what was interesting to them, and I would create a route, and it would be an all-day excursion and stuff with my guests. So I didn't know if I wanted to go all the way with that, though, to make that my full-time job, kind of, through the experiences.
Yeah.
I kind of liked having it just be exclusive for my guests. But
so what was the route you took them on?
The route I took around LA?
Yeah.
I took a loop starting on the east side, so we would go to downtown, then we would go to the Griffith Park Observatory, hike to the Hollywood sign, come back, go down to the Walk of Fame, see the Grauman's Chinese Theater with the hand and footprints in the courtyard, go over to Santa Monica, Venice, and have dinner, and then head back after traffic.
That's awesome.
How much would you charge them for that, or?
It would be $120 for the whole day.
Wow. That's not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah, it was kind of because they were my guests, so it was like a family discount sort of.
So, timeshare. You make money off your timeshare. How do you do this? How do you make money off your timeshare?
Well, I found that if you're a deeded owner, I use Wyndham, and they give you preferential treatment when it comes to when you want to book and you're a deeded owner. They tend to say yes a lot more if you're an owner when you want to book. So I've gotten it where I own actually 3 memberships at the same resort now, and it's right across from the convention center. So we book as many of the units as we can when the big events come to the convention center, and max it out at like $400 or $500 a night.
Wow.
And yeah, it pays for the dues real quick and then some. So it's been very lucrative, and we just kind of keep trying to expand that timeshare piece. One of the things, though, that I found was that it was hard to book the dates for beyond that sometimes. They have a lot of rules. So I don't know. I remember because I listened to your episode 1, you guys were talking a lot about it. Myka was talking about how you use the world mark. Are you still doing that?
Yeah. I kind of sell out different times of the year. Like I use bonus time and inventory time, and I pretty much, and I use the bonus time. So I pretty much rent out the time shares year round, all the time. I just always have them open, except for the days that are gone. But other than that, anytime they're open within a week to 3 months, I have it open, and it's actually really helped us a lot in trying to reach that financial freedom goal. Actually, once I found out how it works and like really dove into it, it's really, really, really lucrative and really pays for it. Like you said, those dues easily pay for themselves, and you get a lot of cash flow out of it.
Right. Yeah, I call it a gold mine. It's so funny because when people think about a timeshare, they're usually complaining about the dues, and they're not even using it, and it's just a waste. And you come along and you show them, oh, did you know you have this amazing investment, this asset? And like, no, what is it? Your timeshare. What?
Yeah, and people came up to me like, should I go buy a timeshare? And I tell people I don't think that's a good investment to just go and buy, because it's going to take a while to pay itself off. Luckily, I kind of inherited mine, so it was already paid off, so all I'm paying is dues, you know? So,
dude, you know what?
What was that?
Just wanted to kind of give you a different perspective on that.
Okay.
So, like, on the timeshares, if you sit through one of those presentations and they, hold your feet to the coals until you buy, and they charge you like $80,000 and whatnot, there's other ways to buy the timeshares on the secondary market. And you can, basically what my strategy is, or was with WorldMark, with the credits, is you want to buy the smallest amount of controlling credits that they require in order for you to be considered an owner, which I believe is 5,000 or 6,000 credits. And then that means your dues are very low every year. But once you've got that controlling interest, now you have access to all the other inventory, the ones that you've been using to rent out and make that continuous cash flow. So people don't have to spend an arm and a leg to get in. And if you buy on the secondary market, you're paying like pennies on the dollar, like 7 cents a credit, 10 cents a credit. In fact, I bought a timeshare for $1 because I was sitting in the jacuzzi at my timeshare talking to this guy who was, we've been using this forever and our family's had a lot of fun with it, but we're done with it and we don't really want it anymore. And I'm like, oh, well, I'll buy it off you. And he's like, really? He's like, I just want to get rid of it. I'll just give it to you. And I said, okay. And so we did the processing, and they wouldn't let me do it for free. They said, no, there has to be some kind of, transaction. I'm like, okay, $1? Yeah, okay. So, there's ways you can get them for very cheap.
So, how much are due? Like, you bought it for $1, but then he's pretty much he thought it was as a burden, right? So he's paying these dues for something he don't use. And so how much are dues on a timeshare?
It varies. Yeah, like the World Mark one, it comes out to about $400 a year. Um, I mean, if you want to get, like I guess the other ones I have are more like $900 to $1,100 a year. But one of the tricks that I found was that they'll even sell you a timeshare that's you have access to it every other year. So if you buy one of those, now the dues are like half,
Wow.
but you still have as much access as you would if you had a regular one. Does that make sense?
So my question, are you using your points when you're doing it? Like the credits?
Yeah, I go through those pretty quick, and then I use the bonus time and whatever other fax time and stuff they offer you when you go to check out.
We're going to have to talk off air. I'll tell you how to not use your credits at all.
I'll tell her right here. I think our fans would like to know.
Because she was talking about something else I wanted to talk off air about. You did with the timeshare thing. Well, pretty much, you don't have to use your credits at all. If you only stretch them out, well, my question would be, how many timeshares do you own? Do you own multiple timeshares?
I only own the 5,000 credits through WorldMark, and then I have a Wyndham timeshare.
So you own 2 timeshares?
Right.
Okay, so I guess your strategy would work if you're buying them. I may have to do that. Just buy a bunch of them and then stretch them out over the whole year. Because what I do is I don't ever touch my credits. So my credits just stay the same, and all I do is just sell inventory specials throughout the whole year in bonus time. So whenever I want to go on vacation, I just vacation for free. I just use my credits whenever I want to go on vacation. And then the whole time throughout the year, I use my Chase Rewards card. I use it to purchase all the inventory specials. And what that does is it racks up your credit card with all these points. So and then that actually pays for the dues every month because it brings me like $200 worth of extra income. And then what you do is I use that card again to go traveling with, and then it'll just pay itself off with the points. So I just use my credit card to kind of make revolving money throughout the timeshare.
That's awesome travel hacking.
Yeah, it's a travel hack.
I wanted to ask you, when you, I have never seen those inventory specials. Do they have fixed dates already?
Yeah, what you have to do, you have to go find out which resorts have them. It'll probably be like 40 resorts that have them. And then what you do is and then after you get the 40 resorts, of course, they have different style of rooms. So 40 resorts, 5 different styles of rooms, that's 120 listings right there. For a 3-month span. And I haven't listed all of mine. I just got through listing the Mexico ones, and right now I'm working on Australia because I heard they have a really big market out there for travelers.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing. So then when you open up the calendar, it's just for the days that you've already purchased from that inventory special, right?
Oh, no. I purchase them when, let's say a guest, that's actually what I was doing here. I was kind of quiet. When, let's say, a guest sends through a reservation request, I just log in, see if those dates are available, because I only open up the bonus time and inventory special. If those dates are available, then I accept it, and they can go.
So I guess that's where I ran into trouble, because every time I would check the inventory, it wouldn't be available, and I wound up declining too many guests, and then they threatened to shut my account down. You can't decline too much, and I was having problems with the inventory not being available. You don't run into that?
Here's the way around also about your listing getting put down. Here's a way around that. Airbnb really looks at, when I talked to this guy, because I talked to a guy, I think it was when I first started doing it, because I told him I'm going to be declining a lot of people because I don't have just 100% control over the condo. So once I talked to him, he goes, oh, well, it won't really matter if you have, he goes, because you have so many listings that you list them and you're still accepting them. He goes, if you still have a high acceptance rate, it really won't matter. So what I purposely try to do is I list places with a whole bunch of availability so I don't have to decline as many people. So I'm at the end of the day, I'm accepting more people than I'm declining.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of balances itself out. So with your timeshares, how many listings total do you have on Airbnb?
It's kind of a rolling number depending on, because the cool thing is like I was saying, we own 3 ownerships at the same resort.
Uh-huh.
So I put one listing up, and then when it gets booked, that week is blocked, and I know it's a big event that week, so I'll open up another listing for that same week until I book them all.
Yeah, me too.
So I have listings on standby that I'll open up as the inventory gets filled for that particular week. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Why don't you just open them all up? Get more views and requests. See what I'm
I
saying?
guess I'm trying for scarcity. I don't know.
Yeah. Because I used to do that, and then I was just kind of sitting there, and I'm sitting here like, why am I making this listing? I can just make a bunch of listings and just open up all the dates. And it kind of helped. It helped a lot.
Okay.
I mean, the only thing is, like, I have, like, probably 15 of them in Marble Falls. Like, I probably have, like, 4 2-bedroom units. Now, my reviews, the only thing is your reviews don't sit there and stack up on one listing. They kind of spread around. But also, when guests look at Marble Falls, they're more than likely to going to come to your listing because, hey, you have, like, 3 or 4 properties. Like, I have people sometimes tell me, like, hey, do you own this whole place? What other rooms do you have? Which I don't own the whole place, but I tell them, yeah, I do have other rooms, and kind of drives more business to me as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with your timeshare, if you have a world mark, you could definitely, you could post, like, I seen one lady, she has like 450 listings, and she's still going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was always wondering, how does she do that without, having to decline too many people? Because I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
now I know, so I'm going to try that strategy. Thank you.
Yeah, so as soon as you accept a get, and also that new feature on Airbnb makes it even easier, that duplicate listing feature. So as soon as let's say someone books 4 days, I give them those days, and I realize there's still more condos available, I just duplicate the listing and put it right back up.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. So you, sorry, I don't know anything about timeshare, so I just was letting y'all talk a little bit. So you run other people's listings, other people's Airbnbs, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so when did you come up with that idea? I mean, you started doing your own Airbnb, and it was successful and all that, and you decided, and did you just start telling friends and family about it, and were they saying, I could never do that? What if an axe murderer, rents out your place? Kind of thing.
I hear that all the time. Mm-hmm.
But so did you end up starting off running friends and families Airbnbs or convincing them or showing them how to do it?
Yeah, it was, the first one was kind of an accident. We had just leased our first property, and then we're subletting it, and we did like an open house, so our family came over and checked it out. And one of our family members had a rental property in Rosemead, and he had great tenants in there for years and years and years, and then they had just stopped paying him all of a sudden. And when he went to go ask them if they'd pay, they kind of told him no, make us. So he went through the eviction process.
Make us.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, they kind of had an attitude when the sheriff escorted him out because they felt entitled to be able to keep living there without paying rent.
Jeez.
So they trashed the place when they left. So he was at that point looking at this, destroyed house that he was going to have to invest all this money to repair it. And it was like PTSD, like, do I really want to have tenants again? So he said, do you think you could do this on my house? Would it work? So I said, yeah, absolutely. And so he says, well, you take it over because he's a doctor. He doesn't have time to manage the listing, and doing all that communicating and stuff. So that's how it started out. And then we tripled his rental income right off the bat. And then he just said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And here's all of my properties. So as they've become vacant, he's just been throwing them all to me, and we're just cranking them all on Airbnb now. And then he started telling people, and then they would come to me, and then it was just pure word of mouth. So that's how I wound up with other professionals like doctors or sheriffs, or people who work in the jails and can't text while they're at work, they're like, can you manage my house too? So I wound up with properties out in Coachella, right next to the music festival.
Oh, nice.
Those are amazing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and so it was just purely word of mouth. People just started saying, hey, you got empty space in your house? Call this girl, she'll make you some money. It's like, passive income. They don't have to do anything because I handle everything, and then they get a check, and they're like, oh, I mean, they just get the direct deposit, So they're just
Sweet.
And you know what?
wasting money.
I'm glad you do that because I'm in the situation where I was going to do that, and I'm going to do it again in the future. Because a lot of people I hear them on forums. They're like, no one's going to let you do that. They'll just Airbnb it themselves. And I try to tell them, like, there's plenty of people out there with properties that don't want to have to do the Airbnb, all the work, the hassle. I'm like, you can easily go find these people, and I'm glad that you're doing that, and I'm looking to get further into it in the future because a lot of people doubt that strategy, and I love that strategy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm getting new clients every day. It's amazing how many people are out there that, they either don't have the time to manage it or they don't want to have to learn all the technology, and if you can help them out and they've got extra space, empty space, it's a win-win. So, yeah.
Exactly.
There's plenty of people out there.
How much do you charge to run their Airbnbs?
I keep 20% of the revenue that I bring in for them. And I like doing that percent split because it kind of incentivizes me so that the more money I make for them, then the more money I'll make. So, that way we're using all the tools and bells and whistles and tricks up our sleeve to get them the most bookings possible.
Right. And do you use Instant Book?
I do not. Do you?
I do actually.
You're a brave soul.
When I signed up, like I said, in October, like I'm a Airbnb baby. It's funny because when you sign up nowadays, it's like every other question was like, you want to do Instant Book? You want to do Instant Book? You want to? I was like, no. At first, I was like, no, I don't want to do Instant Book. Are you sure? Are you sure? I mean, it kept pressing, and it just, I guess with all those questions, they convinced me because they said, Instant Book. If you use Instant Book, you get 80% more listings or more bookings. Or it's like, all right, damn it, I'll do Instant Book. And so
They wore you down.
So yeah, they wore me down, and I've been doing Instant Book, and it's been working out good. No one's you can set your standards, and they have to at least have 4 stars or whatever, and verified and all that stuff. And so and even still, people will ask me, some people can Instant Book because they don't have any reviews yet. And so I'll just accept it. I've been accepting everybody, and I've having, knock on wood, good luck so far.
I was wondering, have either you two noticed the new Instant Book thing that they're convincing people to do with the, they're blocking their ratings, so you can't see their ratings if you don't have on Instant Book?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, they just started doing it like today. I think the update was today, and people were complaining about it. I was like, yeah, that's ridiculous.
So Sue doesn't have Instant Book, so she can't see people's ratings?
She can't see the star rating, but if you turn on Instant Book, you can see the stars that they get. I was like, wow, are you serious? So
They're really incentivizing you to use Instant Book, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, big time.
yeah, so I'm like, guess you're going to have to start vetting the guests by yourself then, but Steve doesn't vet them anyways.
I don't vet it. Come one, come all, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a free-for-all.
Well, in LA, I guess we run into some problems where people want to use your house for a party and kind of trash it. So I'd rather be proactive about screening that out than reactive and having to go and tell Airbnb, hey, they broke my rules, and try and get that reversed,
I bet you're very, very clear about saying, oh, by the way, this is a sheriff's house, so enjoy yourselves.
Right? Who lives on site. We have our blue-nosed pit bull here to greet you, and
Now, I've heard that they're getting real strict, the Airbnb laws over there in California. Is that true?
oh, it varies. It's kind of fun. Everybody's trying to make rules for it, and everything from like a gated community to a municipality to a tiny city. They're all coming up with different ways to manage it. So it's kind of hard to keep up with, though. I mean, if you're looking at buying a property in a particular area, you just have to do your due diligence and see what they've decided to do with Airbnb in that particular area.
So Airbnb doesn't just, let's just say if they put a max of, you can only rent out 90 days a year, Airbnb wouldn't keep track of that. It's up to you to keep track of that?
Correct.
Yeah, Airbnb ain't about to limit itself.
Well, see, they did that in like Paris and Amsterdam. They actually went along with the local authorities, and they don't let you book it out more than that 60-day or 90-day allowance per year. They'll just block off the rest of your day as soon as you hit that point.
Oh, wonder what? That's probably why they created the duplicate listing feature.
Oh, I didn't even.
That makes sense.
Dang, I didn't see. It asked me about duplicate. I was wondering what the heck that was.
Yeah,
So you can put the same house as a duplicate.
Yeah, and you know what's funny though? Because I was listening to people today because everyone's mad about the new rule that the awaiting payment thing, the group payment thing. So pretty much they block your days for 72 hours, right?
Right.
And wait for this whole group to pay. So one guy, he got mad about it, and a bunch of people are mad because I'm pretty mad about it too because I don't like that. So what people are doing is they're like, well, during that 72-hour period, I'm just going to duplicate my list, and if somebody books it, I'll just give it to them and cancel out the other list.
Damn.
People are Airbnbs are getting a little too host-friendly to me. I mean, you're wrong. How about you, Sue? Is Airbnb a little too host-friendly at times?
Host-friendly or guest-friendly?
Yeah, I'm sorry, guest-friendly.
Yeah, I've noticed they're definitely leaning in their direction in a lot of ways. So, but, the people are willing, to figure it out and kind of learn how to navigate that. I like the creative solutions.
Yeah, that was a creative solution by that guy. I was like, oh, he's like, yeah, just duplicate your listing. I'm like, wow.
That's great. Do you charge deposits, Sue?
Deposits?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, I do. Anywhere from 100 to 250 to 500. How about you?
I don't. Like I said, my house is just a free-for-all right now. Anything goes.
That's really good in the beginning, too, because, those can be kind of barriers to entry, so that you're just, going to get more bookings and build your reputation and get that fast start, and then you can raise your prices, so that's
He
a good
doesn't like
strategy.
to discriminate.
I don't discriminate. No, well, see, I wanted and I got it on, what's it called? Flexible. I got it flexible, no deposit, anybody can rent it kind of thing, quick, instant book. And so, I'm just letting anybody in the door. But it's been working out. It's been working out all right so far. And, what was I going to ask you? You got a question to Myka? Well, let me refresh my brain real quick. Go ahead, Myka. Say something.
Oh, what did I had? Hold on. I was going through some stuff. I was actually writing some
back
stuff
to the
down.
deposit real quick. That's what I was trying to get at. Because I've heard on other podcasts that the deposit is not really a deposit. It's just they check the people's the guests' credit card to make sure. Let's say they have at least 250 on it, right? But they can book, and after you accept it and they book and everything, they could totally switch to another card, or they could or if they had that other debit card, they can totally clean out that account and literally have zero, and still book with you. And then it's really and even if they did break something like a TV or something, you don't really have that money. You can't grab that money. You still have to go through the whole dispute process with Airbnb.
Exactly. Yeah, and knowing that, I've still put it there just as a psychological thing to say, I'd really like you to respect my stuff, is really why it's there.
That makes sense.
But, yeah, because on the back end, they don't even do that security deposit thing anymore. They just send you straight to the resolutions tool, and, you start by working it out directly with the guest, and then if after a period of time they don't respond, or you can ask Airbnb to get involved, and at that point they can make it right. So, yeah, you really don't ever go after the security deposit, really. It's just kind of, I don't know, a psychological placeholder kind of thing.
That makes sense, yeah. Just like putting cameras, something like that.
Oh,
yeah.
One question I did have for you, because you said you have other people's places and you control it. So do you furnish their places, or do you have them furnish it?
I have them furnish it.
Okay. That's what I was thinking, too.
Good question.
Yeah, because I was...
I thought you were going to have a follow-up or something. You're like, okay.
Oh, yeah, no, because if I was going to say, if you furnish all these places, what's the expense to that? You know what I mean? How are you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Well, one owner, he says, yeah, I want you to manage it for me. It was an empty house. And he says, do you provide furnishing services? And I said, well, sure. So he said, what do you charge? And so this was separate. It was a service, So I charged a separate service fee to furnish the house. And then he gave me a lot of cash to go buy furniture.
Nice.
And yeah, that was fun to get to spend his money and furnish a house and use the creativity to, do the interior decorating and all that stuff. So that can be an additional service that you provide to the owners, but it's on them to provide the money and furnish the place however they want to get that done.
So how much would you charge to do that for them?
Yeah, it depends on how big the house is and what type of high end or low end you're working with. So I charged $1,000, and that was too low for my
really?
services. It was a month's worth of hard labor.
Jeez.
I was like, woof, I undersold that, but it was fun. So I don't know that I would do it again. So I guess somebody who wants to do that type of thing can charge accordingly because it's a lot of work. Got to have a truck, and we were using OfferUp and Craigslist, driving all over LA and picking up really cool pieces, and then they're heavy and you're moving them all around, so you need kind of a crew or a strong helper. So
that's
yeah,
why
it was.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I guess the other route to go, though, a friend of mine does it, and he just orders everything on Amazon Prime, and it's delivered straight to the door. So that would be another route to go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm like you. I do the OfferUp in the Facebook Marketplace. Cheap stuff.
Mm-hmm. But you get some great pieces, too. Oh, nice.
Oh, on OfferUp?
Oh, yeah.
See, I've been using Facebook Marketplace. Myka turned me on to that. It's been working out pretty good so far. So what about, we hear about these, like one of the crazy stories. It actually happened, Palm Springs, where these guys rented out a spot on Airbnb. They rented it out. This is a few years back. They rented it out for a few months and ended up squatting there for like a year, right? You heard about that story, right?
Right.
And so I hear LA or California is really renter friendly, where it's hard to kick them out. Do you? You probably not come across that problem, but what do you do to safeguard against that?
Oh, yeah, that was the number one reason I limited stays to under 30 days, because if you go over, you wind up crossing into tenant-law, and they can become squatters, and you have to go through the eviction process. So if you keep it under 30 days, then it's just a matter of trespassing. So we've never actually had to kick anybody out, though, because we screen really good and make sure that they have somewhere to go. They're not going to be hanging about. So, they usually, there's no reason for them to try and overstay their welcome in that sense. So screening helps. But, yeah, we're very aware of tenant law in LA. So that's one of the number one reasons we keep it under 30 days.
Cool. A funny story. With my house, it was a couple days ago, and this person wanted to book it for 4 months in a row. And so I called Myka because what the hell? What do I do now? I mean, I don't know. I thought this was short-term stuff going on, but they sent an inquiry. They have no reviews, so that's already a red flag. They sent an inquiry to rent it for 4 months. It was going to be like $9,000. It was going to be. I was like, or it was 3 months. I don't know. Anyway, something like that. But they were asking me in the message like, so what rates do you charge or this and that? And I'm like, well, you just booked it. You tried to book it. And so Myka said, well, send the address to them, and I could meet up with them at the house, because you can't send phone numbers, emails, but for some reason the address goes through. And I told them that, and they lived in the area, and so they never responded to me after I sent that, which is weird. Anyways, actually, I called Airbnb after that, and I got this young lady answered, and I was asking her some questions. I said, well, they want to book for this amount of time. What happens if what do y'all do to prevent squatters? And she's like, squatters, like they're gonna squat in your house, or squatting? What is that? You mean like do squats? And I was like, no, like squatters, like squatting in the house. And I was like, do you know what that means? And she's like, no, I'm sorry, I've never heard of that. I'm like, It's when you can't kick the people out of your house. It's called squatting, and it just to me, I was like, man, that's like the number one fear, or for me, anyways, for most Airbnbers, is someone's gonna stay in your house and never leave. They're gonna squat, and they're gonna take over your house or something like that. And she didn't even know what the term meant. This is Airbnb I'm calling. That's kind of scary.
Airbnb VAs, virtual assistants. No, also though, I forgot to tell you. Sometimes when you get people trying to request for a long time, a lot of people, like, they have these little small companies in India, and they'll like book your place for somebody to come over here and stay there for those 3 to 4 months. I had a guy try to do it from Costa Rica, so probably when you sent the address and told them to meet me here, I'm not saying this happened, but some of them don't respond.
Oh, wow.
I had a guy from Costa Rica tell me that's what he was doing. Yeah, I was like, oh. I'm like, no, man, what? He's like, yeah, I'm just going to send somebody over there for 3 to 4 months, and they're going to pay me. And I'm like, oh, no, man, get out of here. It was on Airbnb.
Well, that same person that tried to rent long term, they messaged me like the next night. They said, "Oh, just got your message or whatever." Blah blah blah. What are you going to charge a month? And I just threw a number at them. They said, "Oh, that's a little out of our budget." And I didn't hear from them again till like 11 o'clock at night, 11:30 at night. And they're saying, "Hey, is it cool if we rent it out tonight? Because our house is flooded." And I already had a renter in there. I'm like, well, someone's already in there. Oh, okay, shucks, thanks. And I was like, it just sounds weird, man. I don't know who this is.
Mm-hmm. What? I call that using your spidey sense, because you're just doesn't sound right, So go with that. Just go with your gut and say no.
Yeah.
So any horror stories or any crazy guests in your own house or any of your the ones you manage?
Well, way back in the beginning, I created screening rules over the years from a lot of interesting experiences.
Yeah.
And one girl we had, I call her my glitter bomb girl. She was an artist, and she was coming out from New York, and she was going to go to LA for about a month, 3 weeks, and do an internship. And so that sounded good, internship, short term, you're going to come, you're going to leave. Great. That fits my parameters. So I've come to find out that she actually took a bus across the country. Her mom had paid for the Airbnb. And one thing we learned quickly was that if people don't pay for something themselves, they tend to not appreciate it as much.
Oh, wow.
So, and in her profile picture, she looked a lot older than she actually was. So when she showed up, I was hoping she was 18, because you got to be 18 to have an account on Airbnb.
Yeah.
But I wasn't quite sure. I was like, uh-oh, we might be hosting a minor. But, yeah, she was basically running away from home, it turns out. And when she got to LA, she had no intentions of going to the internship. So she stayed at the house all day long for 3 weeks.
Oh, my gosh.
And at that time, we also offered a continental breakfast, and we thought we were being cute. We had this little, if there's no name, then it's fair game. So if, people didn't put their name on their food, then anyone could eat it. Well, she took that to the extreme, and she started going through our freezer, our pantry, eating everything she could, because she had no money, so she couldn't go out and eat for 3 weeks. And we're like, okay. So she was an artist, and she liked to make bracelets, and she had this box with the tiniest beads you've ever seen. And she was beading and making bracelets and necklaces and things. But then one day, she just turned the whole box over, and it spilled all over the floor and the carpet. And it's still in my floorboards today, because some of those things you just can't get out, And, that was just, I don't know, there was 10 more things that happened while she stayed with us. And it just was incredible. So we were like, I think we need to limit our stays a little bit more, maybe shorten the stay after that.
Yeah, that's funny. I had that guest before, too. The one to stay a little too long and start thinking the refrigerator's theirs. Yeah. So I have a question about that, because you said she sent someone else, and I get that a lot, and sometimes it kind of annoys me. So when people tell you, "Hey, I'm sending someone else," and they would try to reserve your room, do you usually decline it, accept it, or talk to them to see what's going on? What do you usually do?
I have a standardized template. I do not allow third-party bookings, I call them.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I give is in order to maintain the integrity of Airbnb's review system, we require that the person who books be the person who stays. So at that point, I have to decline them, and then I tell them, but if that person you're booking for would like to create an account and book directly with me, I'd be happy to accept their reservation. So that's another hard-earned lesson I've learned. That was the first girl that had somebody else book for her. Another one, a woman said, my son's coming out there and he doesn't know how to use the internet, so I'm booking for him. And again, the attitude was just not where you'd want it to be, with the respect and so that was an uncomfortable situation. And we started to see a common thread. Every time somebody else booked for the guest and they hadn't chosen it themselves, they were usually not happy. The guest wasn't, they were disappointed in one way or another.
Oh, wow.
I could tell you another story.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, so we have a shed in the backyard. This was our very first Airbnb. We turned it into the cozy cabin. So it's got a couple of beds up in the loft and a full bed downstairs. And then that's it. They have to come into the house to use the restroom and the kitchen. So it's kind of a rustic experience. So we had a lady book the cabin for her husband and son-in-law who were coming out from Texas.
Yeehaw.
And she didn't tell them that she had booked an Airbnb. It was a surprise. So here these two guys come, big burly dudes from Texas who have their own, rifles and everything. And they come pulling up to a house and they're like, we see them pull up and we're like wondering why they're not getting out of the car, and they're on their phone, and come to find out they're calling her like, where's the hotel? Oh, you're there. Yay, it's an Airbnb. You're going to love it. So they come to the front door and they knock. And then, here's my husband looking at him. He's a joker. He loves to look at people with that funny look in his eyes like, what are you doing here? And then they're like, Airbnb. And he looks at him back and he says, Airbnb what? And no. And I come running, no, you're in the right place. It's okay. Because, the panic is setting in. They're like, oh, my God, I've just walked up to someone's house. And I'm so uncomfortable. And now I'm at the wrong place. And, oh, my God, if this isn't it, then where is it? And you just see the motions and the thoughts going through there. Oh, and you just feel so bad. And I tell my husband, stop. No, they're in the right place. Okay, you're fine. Okay, calm down. So I show them and I take them to their room and they see the cozy cabin. And they're like, where's the restroom? And the minute I say, oh, well, it's inside the house, that's it. No. They turn around. They walk. They get back in the truck. They turn and they scream around the corner, never to be seen or heard from again. They're just like, no.
Well, the reason I asked you guys about the whole name change, like you're not sending someone else, I was wondering if this would be unethical. So, okay, when I run out my timeshares, I have people, sometimes they send other people or whatever, right? And sometimes it's a hassle because I have to call the timeshare, tell them, hey, change the name and whatever. So, and I was kind of going off your rule. You say, hey, if it's not you, you can't book. So, like, today, for example, I went ahead and changed the name. Like, today I had a guy, he booked the room, but he's told me afterwards, oh, by the way, my parents are going to be staying there instead of me. So I was like, whatever, okay. So, would it be, and I have a strict cancellation policy. Would it be unethical of me if they start doing that and I fill out the reservation request and they're supposed to go and they tell me somebody else is going, that I'm just like, well, you're just too bad. You're going to have to go. I mean, because I would end up keeping the money.
That's part of you. No, you can't send a. Well, it's part of what your policy is, though, right?
I mean, that's Airbnb's policy, I think, right?
No
I'm
third
not
party.
Sure. I'm asking.
I would actually put it up front in the listing under the house rules section, so that the people could see it up front, just to say, we don't accept third-party bookings. If you're booking it, you need to be the one to stay, or something like that.
Okay.
Especially because when they're checking into a timeshare, more than anything, they have to show their ID, and it has to match the name on the booking. So if they don't, then they're in big trouble. And if they didn't tell you, you're like, well, sorry, I'm using the name on your Airbnb account. That's the one that booked it, so that's the one I gave them. And at that point, it would be unfortunate if they were already, they'd flown there and shown up at the timeshare
Yeah.
and didn't have the right name.
Because it's happened. I mean, well, the other thing is also, like you said, I put their name on it. Well, yeah, I guess that, because I don't, even if I put it on the listing, I don't think they're going to read it.
Yeah.
Because most people
True.
don't read the listing. Because I was like, man, because I always try to help them, but then it's like, when I get like 3 or 4 of them in a row, I'm like, okay, man, I'm going to stop
Yeah.
letting these people send other people.
I don't see it as unethical at all. I mean, what if it's like someone that got kicked off of Airbnb and they're using a friend to book somewhere? That's messed up.
Yeah, because the last one concerned me. Like this one 2 weeks ago, this lady was going to Bear Lake, Big Bear, California, and she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna book." She booked the room, and then she's like, "Hey, it's my daughter's birthday, and I actually booked it for her, and she's 17." And I'm like, "What?"
No.
So I can't even put her name. I wouldn't be able to put her name on there anyways because she's 17. You have to be 21 to check into a timeshare with a credit card.
Right.
So.
Right.
I was like, I can't put her name on there. So she ended up having to drive like an hour to the condo to check her in, So I'm
Right.
like, next time I'm not going to do that. Because I don't know. I'm like, I think her mom was hosting an underage party. You know what I mean? Because she told me. Yeah, and she kind of was honest about it. She's like, yeah, it's my daughter and her friends. So I'm like, okay, whatever.
That's messed up, man. Oh, some parents are weird like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna,
You gonna host parties for your son when he's old enough?
no.
Or he's
No.
underage parties? You have kids too?
Yeah, I do, but they're grown. So,
Okay.
yeah, my daughter's already hitting 30, and my son's going to be 28.
Oh wow.
Kids are exactly my age. Wow.
So they weren't around the house whenever you started hosting people, or were they?
Oh, yeah. Before we did Airbnb, we actually hosted international students. So
Oh, cool.
we were a host at the local Whittier College, and so while they were growing up, they grew up with that influence in the house. We always had different languages and people from different countries. So we did that for like 10 years. And then when Airbnb came along, it felt like, well, it's kind of the same thing, why not give it a try?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but they have definitely been exposed to that, which is kind of nice, I think, because, I don't know, I grew up in Newport Beach, and it was not very diverse. So
Oh no.
had a little different experience growing up with all the multiculturalness.
That's awesome.
So, do you... Okay, oh yeah, here we have a bunch of Airbnb questions here. Okay, so do you allow pets?
In the house where I rent different rooms, I don't. Because, funny story, one time we did allow a lady to have her dog with her. She stayed out in the cabin. But when there were guests in the house that booked a house that didn't have pets, they went outside and her dog was barking at them and attacking them, and they didn't, that wasn't something that they had bargained for with their Airbnb,
wow.
so they weren't real happy. So I don't allow pets for the sake of the other guests. But if it's a whole house rental, then that's a different story, then we accommodate that.
You do accommodate them?
Yeah.
Have you had any issues with like a guest? Like, let's say you've allowed pets, but like an issue with guests further on down the line having like allergies or anything?
Yeah. One woman said that her son had severe allergies to dog dander, and they were the ones that stayed right after the guest that had the dog. So her son seemed to have a bit of a reaction.
He did?
And it was, yeah. Some
Oh,
people are
wow.
very, very sensitive, and yeah, you have to be really careful and just make sure that the guests honor your rules. If you say, please keep the dog in the kitchen, that's the area we can completely disinfect, or have a special area for the dog or cat or whatever it is. That way you can still protect your future guests.
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering about pets, because I don't allow pets at the moment, but I get those inquiries all the time. Hey, I have a pet, and I was wondering about that because one lady asked me. She goes, "Hey, have you ever allowed pets?" Because she was allergic to the dander, and that's what made me be like, I guess I just won't allow them. But since it sounds like you have a strategy in place, so if you keep them in this area, and that seems to work for you.
Yeah. And also because you're not allowed to discriminate. So if somebody has a pet that's, what do you call that?
Service
Like
animal or a
service animal.
or what's the other one
Right.
Also,
A
my
comfort
question:
dog or something. You have
Yeah.
to allow it.
how does Airbnb gauge discrimination? So, okay, for example, last night someone said they had a service dog. If it was at one of my personal, like in my condo, I'd let them bring it, you know. But I was like, because I don't make the rules at the timeshare, you know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know if the timeshare will allow you, which I think they're supposed to allow them, but
I think you do.
yeah, like let's say I said no. How does Airbnb gauge, hey, this guy's being discriminatory? You know what I mean?
Well, if you've written it in the message thread and the guest reports it to Airbnb, then they would look into it, and they have a discrimination department
Oh,
that they would rule against you. If they had stated that it was a service dog and you declined it, then that would be considered discrimination. Yeah, they take a very, very hard line on that one.
Wow, I didn't know that. Maybe my friend needs to call down there. But I don't think he could prove it, though. I don't know how he'd prove it. So, because I know Airbnb now, if you guys have noticed, you can't see the guest's picture anymore until after you accept or decline it.
Right.
Yeah, they don't let you see the guest picture anymore.
Oh,
It's
wow.
funny.
Yeah.
I also was trying to make sure I wasn't going to get people that were local, like from LA. And so, you know, when I decline, they always say, well, why are you declining? And I would say, because one of my screening rules is I don't allow people within a 45-minute radius. That's just for, you know, personal reasons that I've learned the hard way. So after that, every time a guest would ask to book, they were all from Kellyville, Oklahoma. Every single person. I was like,
Wow.
what are the odds, you know?
They're lying to you. That's crazy.
There's some tampering going on behind the scenes, you know. And, it was interesting.
And you know what? I've heard that strategy. A lot of people say that they like, hey, if they live in your hometown, do not let them rent. And the first problem guest I ever had at my house was someone who lived in Grand Prairie, right next door. And yeah, cigarette butts all over my yard, and I'm like, they had a party. So I'm sticking to that one too. Also, you might want to look at that too, Steve, because you rent out a whole place. If they live very near the DFW area, yeah, you might want to be careful, especially if it's like for 2 days or a weekend. Yeah, they're coming to have a little party, man.
I don't care. Let them all in. Invite me to the party. Shoot.
Come on, come on.
Come on, come on. That's what I should put on my Airbnb listing. Come on, come on. Yeah, don't misconstrue that. So,
Yeah.
so Sue. So what made you stop renting local or stop trying to rent local? Now you just take people from Oklahoma, I guess.
I know I had to start discriminating against Kellyville, Oklahoma after all that. No. Sorry. No. It was, let's see, some people in Culver City. So that's a good hour drive, and they just wanted to get away for the weekend and relax from the stress of Culver City.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded okay, and I said, sure, okay, you guys can book our whole house rental. And then, you know, they asked an interesting question. You know, it said 2 people on the listing, and then they are on the booking, and then they said, how much parking is there around your house?
Uh-oh.
And I was like, oh, plenty of free parking. Oh, my goodness. We've got parking in the driveway, parking on the property, parking down the street. We're in a secluded neighborhood where nobody will see what's going on. Here, come on over. So this was like my first week of doing Airbnb. And then, you know, the neighbors started calling me at about midnight saying, there's about 1,000 cars parked on the street, and they're having a huge party at your house. So I was like, oh, quiet, relaxing 2 days, you know, no. So they will lie about why they're coming.
Yeah.
And then it usually was, I started making it a game after that because I decided no locals, but anytime somebody local would ask to stay, I would just ask them, out of curiosity, if you already live in LA, why do you need to stay at my house? And the answers were hilarious. Like, well, my wife and I had a fight, so I need to find somewhere else to stay tonight.
The Doghouse.
Poor guy. Poor guy.
Yeah.
And then another one, I just got evicted from my apartment. I'm on a bus with my daughter and my dog. How far is it to your house from Hollywood? I was like, no. We're filming a low-budget movie. You rent your place by the hour. Well, no. So I started seeing a pattern, with locals, and it was always like some sort of drama, And I was like, I have a new drama-free policy.
Nice.
So,
They've filmed at my house before too. Just full disclosure.
did you?
I don't know what they
Wow.
filmed, but they we just need it for one day.
Mm-hmm.
I told them, I said no porno, okay, and they said no, we're not doing a porno. So they told me no, so that they must not have.
Mm-hmm.
I trust everybody.
That's cool. We had one group of people. They were also from Culver City, and they said they were just staying home for the weekend, just relaxing, and they booked the house. And when I came, after they checked out, I went to check the property, and there were footprints on the ceiling. And every single piece of furniture in the house had been moved and tried to be put back, but you could tell it wasn't in the right spot. And then we had these baskets of plants outside along the covered porch, and they had been spilled out and put back in their baskets upside down. And we to this day do not know what they were doing, but it's haunted me,
Some upside down plants. Oh,
Wow.
do people make Airbnbs and advertise them as party houses? Hey, you can party here all you want.
Yeah, they do.
Really?
Oh yeah, you actually, when you do that, you can charge a boatload if you do it.
Yeah.
Really?
People will pay more if they know, hey, we get to party here. Like I've seen people advertise party houses, $200 cleaning fee, $500 security deposit, and then they'll be having like $500 a night. Like if you did that during Super Bowl, oh my, you could have at least made $5-6 grand doing that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
But will that fix everything?
Depends on what you put in there. Because I remember I went to Houston. I passed through Houston during Super Bowl, and my cousin told me, he goes, oh, yeah, my whole neighborhood. He goes, yeah, they're renting out their houses. I'm like, dang. Yeah, a couple people made $4 grand in 2 nights, man.
Wow. Sue, do you provide like a bottle of wine or some kind of, something a welcome package?
When I do the properties and I manage them for the owners, I leave it up to them to decide. So, like one of them, we put out a bottle of wine and 2 glasses and a little welcome booklet and ask them to, please share about themselves. And we put postcards and all kinds of cute little things to make them feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
In my house, in my individual rooms, I have a welcome basket in each room that's got bottles of water, towels, a welcome booklet, earplugs, and eye masks. So I try to make it, something that'll make them comfortable. And in a couple of my rooms, I have secret drawers. And it's kind of cool because every now and then somebody will find the secret drawer. So I've hidden little prizes in there, like, congratulations, you've discovered the secret drawer, pick a prize, So
Nice.
I don't know, little things like that,
I have secret drawers too, but it's not like that at all.
But then it kind of backfired on us one time because this one group of people, they were trying to leave and they were like, we can't find our keys. Where are the keys? And we turned everything upside down. It comes to find out somehow they'd fallen into the secret drawer. Nobody knew the drawer was there. They forgot about it. Like, oh, man.
So, Sue, since you've been doing Airbnb for about 7 years now, what are your personal pros and cons of Airbnb?
Pros and cons. Well, I mean, it's been amazing. It's been life-changing. I love Airbnb to death. It gives me this amazing lifestyle now where I used to work 10 hours a month. Now I've got it down to less than an hour. And
Sweet.
it's just, let's go. Let's travel. Let's go play. Whatever you want to do, basically. My husband and I are like, what do you want to do today? Whatever we want,
Nice.
So the pros, I mean, are just outstanding. And the cons are basically, everything we've been talking about, all these wonderful experiences we've learned from. And every time we have an interesting experience, we create a solution so that we don't have to repeat that. So after 7 years, we've pretty much got the bugs worked out of it. So if we follow our formula, we follow our systems, we haven't got any cons, pretty much. It's just come down to being a joy in every way. It's amazing.
I like that way you did that. Yeah, learn from every experience so you don't have any cons.
I've probably hosted cons before. See, I don't meet mine at all. They just leave them the code and they check themselves in, check themselves out. So I have not yet met a guest. So.
I can't wait till you put a camera by your front door. They've probably been throwing all types of raging parties.
Okay, real quick, tell us about the Harry Potter room. That sounds interesting. Can you please describe it for us too?
Well, it actually had 2 iterations. So the first one was in the beginning when I was trying to, I just learned about Airbnb, and I was amazed that, you could rent out a whole house, individual rooms, and spaces. And so I started getting really creative with space, and I rented out my couch, and people paid me $29 a night for that. And then I rented a tent in my backyard, and people would pay me $700 a month, to sleep in the tent.
Oh my gosh.
And I started getting crazy, and I looked around, and I said, why isn't that cupboard making me money? And we have this cupboard under the stairs.
Yeah.
A closet. And then, my kids and I had read the Harry Potter series when they were little, and so I was like, the Harry Potter cupboard under the stairs room.
Wow.
I wonder if anybody would want to live like Harry Potter. So we put a twin bed in there, and I put all this paraphernalia, Harry's glasses and a wand and an owl. And then where the stairs get really low, it's kind of dark and unusable space. And so I put a giant fuzzy spider in there called Aragog. And that didn't go over real well with the guests. But I had to dial it back. But anyways, it was pretty popular. So later on, when they opened up the Wizarding World of Harry Potter over here at Universal Studios, and I put 2 and 2 together, and I said, well, if Universal Studios is the #1 reason people come to LA, and they think it's worth investing in a Wizarding World of Harry Potter, then they must know that there's a market for that. And I wonder how many people would want to live like Harry Potter, immerse themselves, stay at an Airbnb in a Harry Potter, we called it the Chamber of Secrets, and then, go to Universal Studios and the whole experience, create that complete experience for the guests. So, I asked my husband, can I have a little decorating budget? And he said, sure, go wild. So we went into, Harry Potter mode, and we put the Marauders map, a big tapestry hanging on the wall, and
wow.
the curtains hanging down, and Harry's Thunderbolt broom. We had Hedwig in there, and and then the fun part was we put the magic into the room. So I found this voice-activated light bulb on Amazon, kind of like the old clapper where you could turn the light on and off by clapping.
Yeah.
But this was voice-activated, and you could program it to be turned on with a particular word. So I was like, oh, how perfect is that? So, in Harry Potter, the words for turning a light on are Lumos Maxima. So I programmed the lamp, and then in the secret drawer, I hid a wand, and I even got a little music box, and I put the Harry Potter theme song on it. So when the guests would check in, some of them actually wore their Harry Potter robes and stuff when they came. It was so awesome. So they would check in, and I would show them the magic in the Chamber of Secrets. There were 3 secrets that they had to discover. So the one was the drawer to find the wand. I would turn the music on. It would set the tone. Everybody, a hush would fall over the room. And then I would show them how to turn on the light with the Lumos Maxima. And then it would be a game. Everybody would try to do it, and wave the wand with a flourish of the wrist, and in a commanding voice say, Lumos Maxima, and turn the light on and off. So we had a lot of fun. That was cool.
So that room did real well, I expect.
Yeah. So, our guests just got a really big kick out of it, and it was a blast.
So you got to use your creativity.
Yeah, that's what I love about Airbnb is it's such a creative outlet. You can do so many things because it's all about creating an experience for the guests. So if you embrace that, you can do a lot of cool stuff, and then, it kind of becomes a novelty too. So you kind of get more traffic, and the guests are kind of like, hey, look at this one. We got to try that.
That's what I love about it the most, because see, Myka was telling me about it. He showed me some of his rooms and what they did, and I was like, that's pretty cool. Put some tapestries up and cool stuff. And I'm an artist, musician, and so I just first I was thinking, well, am I gonna go high end, or am I gonna try to set it up real like HGTV kind of thing? And I was like, well, I don't got the money for that, so the next best thing, I'll keep it kind of get decent furniture in there, but I'm gonna call it Art House Hearst, and I just put up paintings all over the walls. I had friends, they wanted to put up paintings too. Yeah, the more the merrier. I put poster boards all around. People can go in there and create their own art and stuff like that. And I have some musical instruments, and it's just people. It's going over really well. And I just I get to use my creativity a part of it. I didn't turn it into a job. Well, I got to go get furniture and do the drapes and all. And I just I was creative with it, and that's kind of helped me cope with the I don't know. I've never done hospitality before, so I was kind of dreading it. But going every time I go to that house, or me and my wife will clean it or whatever, and just this is a cool house, I get a good feeling about it.
That's fantastic.
So yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
I love that the guests get to create their own. You put up poster boards so they can write a message or make a picture or something.
Yeah, I've had one guest that's actually has a little bit of talent. The rest of them, I don't know what they're doing in there. Well, I guess I had an Oklahoma guest because we had a big football game, Oklahoma versus TCU, a big college football game over here at the Cowboy Stadium, and so they were a big Oklahoma Sooner fans. So they put all the poster boards. I put the 3 of the poster boards they use, and the Boomer Sooner and all these upside down Longhorns and stuff like that. So yeah, they got a little artistic with it.
Fun! I love it. Oh my gosh!
So
cool.
You want to dive into her business? Let's talk about your business and how you help people out and how you can help our guests out. Our guests are our listeners.
Oh yeah. Well, if anybody's listening and they're in that category we were talking about earlier, where they'd really love to make the extra money with Airbnb, but they just don't have the time or inclination to try and figure it all out, we can totally partner with them and provide those reservation management services for them.
Okay. What's your company called?
Sterling Vacation Rentals.
Sterling Vacation Rentals. So you handle everything for them. So how would you you'd even find them cleaners, like local cleaners and stuff like that?
Right, yeah. So in order to automate and outsource the whole thing to make it streamlined for them, first thing we require is the keyless entry system, right?
Yeah.
Like you were talking about that. Yeah, that's the key to the whole thing right there, so that the guests don't have to worry about having somebody greet them or meet them, or having to find a key. We just give them a code and boom, they're in. So having that system on the house is the number one thing we have to make sure they have in place. And we
real quick, what kind of keyless lock do you suggest for them?
The system that I use, I love. I use the Schlage locks and the Z-Wave enabled, right? So if you go on Amazon, you find the regular locks that are like a keypad by Schlage, and they're like $100. But if they're Z-Wave enabled, they cost about $200. But it is the best investment. Oh my gosh! But then you need another component. You need the Nexia home bridge system, and what that does is it allows you to download an app on your phone, and then through the Wi-Fi you can connect through the bridge to not just the door locks but any other Z-Wave enabled devices in the home. So you can control the entire home remotely. So you can turn the thermostat on and off, you can change codes on the door locks, you can turn lights on and off, coffee makers, whatever you want. You can put up to 200 devices on this Nexia bridge.
Wow.
To control them remotely. So that's how we help manage the property for the owners and make sure it's secure. You can put cameras on that system too if you like. Make sure the guests checked in securely. save them money on electricity by turning things off when the guests aren't there, all sorts of stuff like that.
Myka just laughed. What were you laughing at, man?
I was laughing at my wife. No way.
Oh, his wife. I'm sorry. All right, so you got the lock on. Okay, and so you have to, I guess, contact local cleaners and stuff like that?
Yeah, we'll source a local person. We generally need cleaners and or a runner. One of the cool things that works really well is a lot of times people will just have an extra room in their house or rooms that they could, rent out and make a lot of extra money, or maybe they're at work all day. So if they live in the house, then the owner of the house can provide the cleaning services, or, anyone else that lives in the house too, their grown kids or somebody. And then what we do is we collect a separate cleaning fee from the guests with every booking. And then if the owner or somebody in their family decides to do the cleaning, we just pass that cleaning fee on to them.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, that was one of the cool things that I loved about Airbnb in the beginning when I was renting rooms in my house. And I was like, what? You could charge a cleaning fee? You mean, I already clean it for free. I could get paid now to clean my house? That's awesome. I'll take it, sure. Yeah. Why not? So that works really well. And then otherwise, we do source local cleaning services to clean the whole houses or clean the rooms for them if they need to.
So
that's cool.
On one of your larger properties, what cleaning fee do you charge?
We have a 3,000 square foot mansion, and the cleaning fee is $230. And I would say that's kind of at the top end of the range because we have a really awesome cleaning crew. They go deep. They own their job. They understand that they are a key piece of this business and creating that first impression for the guests. We help them understand that they're not just cleaning a house. There's a lot more to this. And these guys understand that they're, part of a team. So to get that level of commitment, that level of service, that level of, I need my house cleaned right now because we have a new guest checking in, they will drop everything and do ours first. So we do pay a little bit more for that.
Sweet. That's awesome. Well, it's been a great show, Sue. We thank you so much for dropping in and taking time to talk with us about Airbnb, the love of your life, Airbnb. And
thank you. It's been great talking with you guys, my people who actually do Airbnb and understand how awesome it is. This is great. I love it. Thank you.
It's pretty awesome. It's a party every night.
We love it.
Yeah.
Literally in my house, there's a party going on. Probably.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to put your information on our website and in the show notes. And so, yeah, awesome. Hit her up. She'll hook you up. She'll start making you money right now. She'll make you money. You like money, right? Okay, cool. It's a done dizzle.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, hang on after the show. We have some questions for you, personal questions. And just thank you for being here.
Live, Let Thrivers.
Yes,
remember to hit us up on YouTube. Like us, rate us on iTunes, all that good stuff. And you can always hit us up 469-300-9100.
LiveLetThrive.com, LiveLetThrive@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all later.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.